So yeah, thank you for your comments, Sarah. Yeah, that's the very good summary of the block 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it looks like you have fully understand what's going on for this subject. And then it's good to know you want to know about more sludge and then byproduct, what's happening. Yeah, absolutely. That's another environmental subject, solid waste management. So how you can collect the solid waste, how we can make a landfilling or some of the circular economy fertilizer system, or how we can recycling your byproduct. So in fact, solid waste, we have a environmental subject, which is the solid waste management. So if you are interested in more about sludge handling or byproduct handling, as a landfilling, how we can remove that sort of waste, solid waste. So you can join your solid waste management class, and then you will learn a lot from this kind of information. So thank you. But yeah, next time we will try to cover very briefly what happened for sludge, how we can create the biosolid, how we can use it as a fertilizer. So that's we can try to incorporate next year for this subject. Thank you for your comments, Sarah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just leading this one through my list of your name. So don't be confused. I just pick up yeah, based on my preference. I just go by my list of this uh, June. Next one is Pabakumar. Pabakumar.
Yeah, I really enjoy your lecture. Thank you for the presenting your lecture. I've seen very videos on the record picture and learn various PPT and various material you can provide on the Canvas portal. And I learned from the assignment from 1 2 because I am the familiar with the wastewater treatment plant because I work on the pharmaceutical company and as well as fertilizer company. So I actually aware about the how water we can use because industry are more and more use the water and the maximum try to reuse water and recycle the water because some chemical particle are also include that. So I have very learned from the Malabar treatment process. That's it.
Okay. So do you have any uh, comment on how to improve this subject?
No, 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 sir, no comment. Thank you for that.
All right. Thank you, Pabakumar.
Appreciate, sir. Mhm.
How about next, Ali one?
Hello, can you hear me, Professor?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, it's been a really good subject so far. I come from a contaminated land background, so uh, it's been pretty insightful to know how wastewater is treated in Australia, and I think the subject is good that it introduces various ways of water treatment, including conventional treatment and also advanced MBR treatment. But now also we're going to talk about desalination, which is all important in the Australian context, and it's used by industry widely. I think the way that the subject can improve is probably by introducing a little bit more into how the plant is operated from an operational point of view. Because I've learned a lot of the processes and how the parameters are calculated. That's all pretty straightforward. But a lot of the research I did myself is focused on how easy it is to implement these, for example, advanced treatment techniques like MBR in terms of like real operational conditions, and what kind of plant operators you need, operating conditions you need to consider in order to implement these treatment processes successfully. So yeah, so I think that's the only thing that can be introduced is by just talk about how an MBR plant actually works in reality and what are the principles behind it. That's all from me. as well.
Thank you for your comment. That's a very great comment to know more about the operating perspectives. The operating maintenance are very important because a lot of cost is involved of O&M system. So you're right. So we should have covered all the detail. But one thing you need to be careful because every water quality will be different. Also, every water treatment process a little bit different. Also, depending on the where you are located, also even depending on your seasons, spring, summer, winter. Also, they are a little bit different to have an operating condition. That's the reason why, depending on the operators, they are very important to get the experience and then how they can optimize. Absolutely. That's the little bit of site specific. That's the reason why we cannot cover all the operating condition, but yes, in general, yes, we can try to cover how we can operate in the general condition, so that how this can be improved, so that we will incorporate some of the operation and maintenance perspective from the advanced water and wastewater. So that's the very good question, and that we will consider carefully.
Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Next is Susan. Susan.
Hi,
Hi, Sue.
I think so far so good for me, and I gain lots of new knowledge, especially the portable reviews. It's very interesting. And I have a question about the Wave login, the software. Yeah, do we
All
need
right.
to register our own account or use the
I think
UTS?
you can put your email and then your basic information, and then you can register and you will download your software.
Okay, I
So
got
you
it.
need to put this is a free software, so you can easily put key basic information.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
So we will cover this one in the afternoon today. So you don't have to worry. We will have a discussion about how we can operate this software.
All right.
That's okay. Any other things, Sue? You want to have any comment to improve our class so far?
No,
Okay. Thank you, Sue.
thank you.
Next, Hala.
Hello. I think for me, the class has been so good. I learned a lot of things in terms of community engagement. As for the wastewater design, which is assignment 2, I had previous knowledge on what we discussed because I had similar lectures in my bachelor's. However, it was good to refresh some of those information. I think, to me, I would want to have more advanced, let's say, knowledge on wastewater design, other than the membrane bioreactor and the conventional. Another thing that I really appreciate in this class is that when the Professor Leo provided feedback on the first assignment, it was very subjective. He described in depth how can I enhance my submissions, which is something that you don't, to be honest, usually have in this university. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Hala. So what's your background of the bachelor degree? Is it chemical or environmental or civil engineering?
No, it was civil engineering, but we had a very big branch of water, wastewater, and environment. So I
Mhm.
covered water design, wastewater design, advanced topics, hydrology, wastewater reuse. So
That's good. So yeah, it's good to know, that you already have experience and you look at a little bit different angles, and then now is yeah, a little bit more improved your knowledge. And you mentioned about wastewater. You want to know more about wastewater design. What specifically you want to know more wastewater design? What you're talking about? Can you elaborate some more?
maybe like, for example, when we looked at assignment 2, we just, for example, mentioned tertiary design. Like we mentioned the technologies, but we didn't went into the design of those technologies. Maybe that could be a thing to look at.
All right, tertiary wastewater treatment process design.
Yeah.
You're right. So because that's the limitation of this class, because we cannot cover screen and sedimentation. Also, we cannot cover biofilter and then some sand filtration system. Also, there are a lot of different process design, coagulation, absorption. That's the too many, water treatment process, which we cannot really cover. That's the reason why we focus on more commercially available and then commercially most common technology. That's the reason, we skipped a lot of also important design aspect. So yeah, you're right. So we will see how we can combine tertiary waste with some of the advanced oxidation or sand filtration, dual media filtration system, how to design. Yes, so we will maybe incorporate next year of some more detailed design. So thank you for your comment, Alan.
Thank you.
Okay, next problem.
Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
I like to appreciate the initiative of this advanced water and wastewater treatment program, and it is designed very well. I have not seen in my previous graduation as well. I've completed my chemical engineering, and I was in the field for over 13 years in water and wastewater treatment. And whatever I gained experience, but when I am matching with in a curriculum, it is what I expected. It's more than my expectation, and it is very well designed. When I started doing the assignment of the stakeholder engagement, I understood what are all the issues usually we face, and this was the same issue what I faced in my experience as well. And when I got into this design, I'm feeling so comfortable now. So when I'm doing this assignment, back to back, so I'm totally involved in this entire wastewater and water and wastewater treatment program. And more than the curriculum, what I like to ask you a few things about the subject. Is it possible to talk on this case story of a particular installation or something like that? For example, if you are even the assignment is talking about Malabar and few of installations, but we are talking about global installations like in Africa there are few installations, and in California we have a few installation of BTR. So similarly, is there any possibility of talking about a particular Malabar plant or something like that? So now what is the from the as our curriculum says, from the stakeholder engagement and then design, and then we are going into software. So similarly, from the stakeholder engagement, how this Malabar plant has faced similar kind of issues, how they have handled. I think it might be a larger topic, but in order to understand the ground reality, it will help us to more understand more about the plants and what is the challenges they face. And then, as Mr. Haley pointed out, there is also operational issues, as you mentioned. It's a big topic and we can't go beyond certain limit, but just to understand from a new entrant into this field, it will help us to understand more about it, about the plant.
That's a fantastic feedback for this subject. In fact, what you're asking is you want to have a real the consulting and the design of the water and wastewater treatment process. So which means you want to know exactly what's going on in the design and real case study, the real practice, what's happening. Yeah, that's exactly I try to cover in this subject. That's the reason why I gave you the scenario, and the scenario covers what's the problem of stakeholders, water reuse, and wastewater, also desalination plant. In fact, today we have a case study of the Sydney desalination plant, what's going on, how it has been difficult time to reach to this level, and then construction, designing, as well as the so many difficult time of the Sydney desalination plant. Yes, you are right. Malabar wastewater treatment process exactly not well fit with what we designed the block 2, but block 3 for Sydney desalination plant, you will know much better than Malabar wastewater treatment plant. Absolutely. It's good to know case study from Africa and then California, even India, and all over the world. They have a different way of the designing, and then also some of the, depending on their own way of the feed water quality and the site specific issue we need to cover. So in fact, yeah, that's the reason why I focused on the Sydney, because Malabar wastewater and the Sydney desalination plant, also Sydney problem of the severe drought, as well as the water stakeholder issues. So in fact, yes, you're right. We try to cover what you are talking about to learn, but that's the little bit of limitation. We have a limited time. Also, every student, not like you, not like you're very knowledgeable and then expert comments. Some of them are very basic, some of them are middle career, some of them are very knowledgeable and senior level of the water and wastewater, experience. So in fact, if I focus on your level, I'm sure that most of people will learn away from this subject. So that, yeah,
Yes,
even
I
though,
agree.
yes, yes, I understand you are very much well experienced, but that's we have done our best. But yeah, your comment, case study, yes, we can incorporate some more in Australian case, even international case, and try to compare. So that'll be a good comment we can incorporate from your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Sorry if I asked more depth of the topic.
No, it's good to know that you are very well experienced, and you know what's this subject about, and you are enjoying, and how we can improve further.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Olena.
Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
So I think this subject was really informative. It had really much information. But the thing is that I think the time to process this information was a bit short. So all the information was given in one lecture over one day, which is a bit too much to process. So instead, I would have preferred that it would be given over a few weeks while we're working on the reports, because in this way, we would be busy watching videos, reading articles just to finish the report and not really dig deep in the information that was given. But other than that, it was a really great course, but I wish that I had processed more information to be kept in mind and not would refer to the articles and the lecture later on if I need more information.
Mhm. Okay, that's the very good point, because we are covering the more about practical issue. So which mean open question and then open answers. So there is no such a clear question, clear answer, because everybody will different answers and design. That's the reason why it's right. You're a little bit confused. It's not like a mathematics. It's not like science. It's about community engagement, design of your wastewater treatment plant, desalination plant. So everybody has a different way of the design, so that it's absolutely correct. Also information, in fact, we cannot cover every information for your assignment in your lecture slide, because we are cover basic information. Also, we try to provide a good example. So every assignment has the example of your follow-up, so that you try to learn from this kind of report, because most of consulting company, so they have their own opinion, rather than they have only one answer in terms of quality, quantity, as well as the cost. So when you consider cost, and you need to go for cheap technology, even though the quality is not good for your effluent. And that's the reason why it's very much practical way of the subject we are now handling. That's the reason why I'm sure that Olina, your issue is completely, I understand. That's the reason why this is more about the blank mode, and then you need more time to think, because you will learn more than what you have just joining class and then finish your examination based on your class. But you have to find out which is necessary information based on your knowledge, and then based on your skills. And that's the reason why you will learn more than like a different level. So some people basic level will go middle level go maybe senior level. So depending on your knowledge, and everybody has a different way of their assignment. So in fact, you are right. That's correct. We were not able to provide all the detail in the lecture note, because we expect you to find out from the internet, from the library, from the books, so that you can improve more, and you will have a more interesting, and then you can design based on your own knowledge and skill. That's what we expected, because you will never ever forget this kind of experience. So it was our intention, not really intention not to give any lecture note for your assignment, but we like you to learn by yourself, like a self-study, and then self-finding, and then self-investigation of your like a project-based subject. It's not really exactly a class and then examination way of the subject. So that's the reason why I hope that you enjoy, and you know how to approach your design or your project, and then you can do any other problem solving project based on this kind of experience. That was our expectation from you. Is it good answer for you? What do you think?
Yeah.
But yes, absolutely, we will improve more lectures, not to provide as much as possible. Yes, we agree with you. It's not enough. It's not perfect, but our expectation, you have to learn more by yourself. That's what we want to from you.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Alina. Next one is the Dinesh. Dinesh? Dinesh Kibachlan? Okay. Anybody? Do I miss? Nobody miss here. So I just got your feedback, and then I will reflect based on this one, and how we can cover next year to improve the overall our lectures and subject. So thank you for your feedback. Also this year, initially when we had the first class, then I mentioned about the ChatGPT. So do you have any good experience? Because ChatGPT has been very useful tool to utilize for your assignment as well as your knowledge. So do you have anything to share ChatGPT from your assignment or your study for this subject? Do you want to share any good experience from the ChatGPT?
Professor, I do.
Yes, sir.
I
Please, sir.
think ChatGPT is too good in a way, because like it gives you a straight answer from everything you basically ask, and it's very easy to like get into the plagiarism category.
Mhm.
And you just got to be very careful to like to dissect the information from what ChatGPT gives you, I think.
Mhm. So do
Um,
you
I use
yes.
sorry, Professor.
Yeah,
I
please.
use ChatGPT to give me like a global approach of each of the topics that we saw. Like if I don't got the like really, or I didn't understand any topic, I just ask about it, and maybe it explains you in another way that you can understand better, but yeah, other than that, it's like I I use ChatGPT to look for some references, but the ones that it gives you doesn't doesn't appear in any part of the internet. So that's the only thing. I tried like 2 or 3 links that ChatGPT gave me, and neither of them work. So I don't know if it's like real true information, but or maybe it's something like you have to be a member of a specific magazine or something like that to get that information. But like comparing between the articles and the information that ChatGPT gave me was pretty similar.
I agree, Professor. I have the same experience with ChatGPT with the references.
Mhm. Okay. Anybody else share your ChatGPT experience?
I really had a good experience with this tool because
Yeah.
how the classmates mentioned, is a really good tool to have like an overall information about any topic. So asking about what is the, for example, what is the things that you need to take in count if you want to engage a community, it can give you like a specific points that you need to focus. and then you can go like to real sources to take like the real knowledge from it. But it's good to know to have like an idea of how to start one project is also good. It's a good tool. But the same thing with the reference, what I did, and not works every time, but sometimes works, is you can tell ChatGPT that the reference is not working. So I think that the tool also is like refeeding itself, so it give you new references, and some of them works the second time, but not all of them.
Mhm. So you got a good marks based on the ChatGPT?
Oh no, no based in ChatGPT, but was like a good general idea. So most of the
Okay.
topic, yeah.
All right. So do you want to recommend next year utilize effectively how we can cover ChatGPT some kind of manual, because this is the first year we offer the ChatGPT utilization. So next year also do you recommend for the student to utilize ChatGPT more
Yeah.
effectively? How? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good, I mean, if you're news in any topic, it's a good idea to know what this topic, the basic at least, and then you can go like for a real research.
Yeah, it's like a very global perspective of any topic. But it's
Mhm.
important to mention that you have to references everything, so you cannot use as a source of knowledge, because
Mhm.
you don't know what in what kind of documents or data is supported, you know.
Mhm. I see.
Same, I think it's a powerful tool, but you need to use it carefully.
Mhm. Okay, so yeah, because you know that everybody has a different level of knowledge on water and wastewater treatment, so that the ChatGPT, yeah, has been also useful to look at the basic information, also look at some of the AI related uh, the answers, how they respond for your question. So yeah, I'm sure that this year, especially because of ChatGPT 3.5, and a lot of people also have a different experience, but their knowledge and skill to improve. So I'm sure that this can be improved the next year. For ChatGPT 4 is already available and keep increasing now. It's more, you know, we can utilize because if you involve the real problem, real, you know, some practical problems solving, you need to have also good knowledge software. So ChatGPT has been, you know, fantastic tool. You can learn more in the future because this will quickly evolve and then develop, so that it will be much easier for your life, and then how you can think about better use. So I really enjoy for this kind of class this year 2023, because you have a new knowledge of the ChatGPT incorporation for your. I'm sure that some of you just maybe utilize the answer directly or partially. You can just copy from the ChatGPT. So I think that this is the just the beginning of our AI revolution, and you need to also engage not only for this subject for your life, and then end of the your, you know, problem, and you can also utilize this one. That's the exactly we need to have a more supporting information, not only your own knowledge, not only internet knowledge, also ChatGPT. Whenever you ask a very specific, different way, different question, so they will have a different way of your answer will give, which means so you will get different perspectives, so that in the future, I'm sure that you can also improve your ChatGPT AI tool to cover your knowledge and skill to more engage there. So I'm very happy to you utilize enough, and then you can also improve how you can use this useful tool. So thank you for your comment. And do you have any other things before we start desalination plant design subject? Everybody happy? Okay. Let me. Share my slide. Can you see my slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So today we will discuss about design of a seawater desalination plant. I'm sure that a lot of people enjoy seawater. Then we will look at why the seawater desalination plant is more issue than wastewater reuse. Then how we can utilize effectively this plant and how we can design this cost-effective and new way of the desalination process. So that's the we can learn. So today we will learn what do we have to study: design of seawater desalination plant, what key terms for this membrane desalination process, what quality parameters, and introduction to reverse osmosis, and design of RO. I think the wastewater reuse also require the reverse osmosis, and seawater desalination require also same seawater desalination reverse osmosis. So how this is different and how we can understand the principle, how this RO can remove the salt from seawater. Also, case study. Sydney desalination plant has been already 14 years. And then what happened for last 14 years during the drought season, also flooding season. So we had a tornado impact from the Sydney desalination plant. So many difficult time we had with the Sydney desalination plant. So we will discuss detail, and we will also design similar to Sydney desalination plant for your assessment, or you can also design something different way of the Sydney desalination plant. So I will show you different states. We have a different desalination plant, how this will have a different technology, and then you will try to design based on your preference. Some people may utilize different way of the design. So we will cover in this class. This is typical way, but you can make something very much different design of the seawater desalination. And then we need to learn what the application value engine. So Wave software will be very useful to design because this software will give you very much useful water chemistry and then water flow rate and balance. Also, your permeate quality as well as the cost. How much you need to pay to design 1,000 cubic meter per day of the seawater desalination plant. Also, you can get very much rough data from the software. So this one is very useful, developed by DuPont Water Solution. So we can experience this software to design the seawater desalination plant. But this software also can be used to design your wastewater reuse plant. So reverse osmosis, BWRO, brackish water reverse osmosis can be also utilized to design this software. Also, you can use brackish groundwater and then some of the industrial wastewater to recycle your wastewater. So this is the very useful tool if you are familiar, and we can also try to learn this software and integration of the how we can integrate the different water treatment processes. So that's the what we can cover today. For seawater desalination, you can see global seawater reverse osmosis capacity. Also, you can see the different summer, like we have a desalination plant, which is the summer, like boiling, distillation process. And then seawater reverse osmosis membrane desalination process. Also brackish water, let's say wastewater reuse desalination process. So you can see the 2013 for last almost 10 years, what happened is that the summer desalination plant has been very stable, but seawater reverse osmosis has been increased significantly in terms of their installation, and BWR also improved a lot. So which means we can focus on the desalination for seawater using reverse osmosis because this is the more cost effective compared to summer distillation process. And this is the more, reliable technology we can utilize so that we learn from this subject how to design your desalination plant using reverse osmosis. So your assignment 3, you need to design the seawater desalination plant for Sydney water. So you can see the United States, how much desalination capacity. Saudi Arabia, most of Middle East country, they don't have enough fresh water and they rely on a lot of desalination water from Red Sea or Black Sea. So that's how the desalination plant has been increased for the last 10 years, 20 years. Also, you can see the UK, European, Algeria, also Netherlands, Italy, and South Africa, Chile, Australia, Singapore, and Taiwan, Japan, South Korea. So as time goes, so a lot of people like to live in near the coastline. For example, the Australia, we have around 26 billion population. So more than 90% lives in near the coastline, almost 200 kilometers. So more than 95%. They like to live in the coastline so that we need to have a more desalination plant because the human intensity and population intensity increased near the coastal line. That's the reason why we don't have enough freshwater resources. So that desalination is one of the very useful water resource because people come to the seawater coastal line, then we need more fresh water, and seawater will be the most sustainable desalination related to the water resource. So in the future, like 2022, more and more seawater desalination will increase a lot based on our prediction. So if you look at the just last year, what's happened for the desalination and water reuse by numbers, desalination capex installation of your process, $6.6 billion, only 1 year in 2021. Then desalination OPEX, already some people mentioned about OPEX, operation and maintenance cost. It was last 2021, $11 billion of the worst. And then desalination contract capacity is $6.3 billion, and this equipment per day. And then desalination operating cost 79.35 million cubic meter per day. The water reuse installed 9.2 million cubic meter per day, and the water reuse cumulative installed capacity is 169.1. So desalination and water reuse always competing each other because we have a weakness and strengths. Wastewater reuse, still not many people can drink. So it's a non-potable reuse. So you need those extra infrastructure to cover non-potable purpose. So that's the problem. You need additional cost required, even though the wastewater reuse is more sustainable because we discharge wastewater, and we recycle and we reuse. But problem is we cannot drink directly at this moment, so that we have to additional pipeline, additional connection, and then infrastructures required, which is very costly. But desalination, we can drink desalinated water. And this one is more, you can connect with the drinking water pipeline. So you don't need the additional pipeline for your utilization. But desalination weakness is the cost. So you have to pay more to desalinate water because the seawater has very high concentration of salt. So this salt is around 3.5%, 3.35 gram per liter. So that to remove this salt require a lot of energy because of the high pressure pump. So that the desalination is very costly in terms of the energy for this kind of production. The water use additional infrastructure cost, the pipeline, and then different connection to required for your non-potable usage. That's the reason why we are always considering how we can connect the water reuse desalination effectively in the future. If recycled water can directly goes to the drinking water pipeline, so we don't need additional infrastructure cost, so that we can save a lot of water. But we are not sure when this will happen. So we are keep trying to push, but this one is not yet implemented, so it will take time. But desalination plant today topic, so we will see how we can make a more sustainable desalination plant. So this is the desalination in Australia, especially already I showed this slide, the first class. So that's the history of Sydney water timeline. Especially we focus on Sydney desalination plant. So when this one was built, then what's going on for the last 14 years? So you can see that we had a very severe millennium drought during this 2002, 2008. You can see that this is the Sydney dam level. And then this is the Sydney safe water dam level guideline, 50%. And then 2000, it was more than average, like a full operational storage of the dam level, then slowly decreased. and 2002 and 2004 and 2006-7. So it was below the dam level of the 50% in the Warragamba Dam near Blue Mountain. And we decide, okay, let's have a desalination plant to make sure that if something wrong, we cannot really create the water resource. So we decide to have a desalination plant 2006. Then we spent around $2.1 billion to produce the 250 megaliter per day. And then it was completed in January 2010. You can see January 2010. In between, what happened is that we were below the dam level, 50%. And then we decide to create the one desalination plant. And then what happened is that as soon as we completed our desalination plant 2010, so we had more than 50% of the dam level. And then after, as soon as we operated the Sydney desalination plant, the dam level increased 2012, 20 to more than 100% of our dam level capacity. That's why we have had a lot of flooding for the last 14 years. And then water has been enough. That's the reason why this one was completely, we stopped June 2012 because we had enough water storage. Full capacity of your desalination capacity doesn't have to be operable because desalination is expensive. So we stopped the desalination plant June 2012. And then preservation timing. So what happened is that during this time, from 2012 to 2018, a lot of people was complain about, oh, we spend our taxpayer money, $2.1 billion to make a desalination plant. And then we operated only 2 years, less than 2 years, 2 years and 6 months. And then we completely shut down. A lot of people complain, why you didn't operate this one and why you didn't consider much about wastewater reuse. A lot of discussion happened and debate. So the Sydney Water decide to sell this desalination plant 2014 and 16. So they advertised the international bidding. So who wanna purchase the Sydney desalination plant with $2.1 billion, 100K. So Canadian superannuation, teacher superannuation, they invest the 2.1 plus 100K. And then they are owner of this desalination plant. So Sydney Water, okay, we already recover all the investment from the other investors, so that we have nothing to lose. So don't complain about anymore for this desalination plant. And what happened was that 2018, so we had another drought. Do you remember the very much severe bushfire 2018-19? Because of we had another very severe drought. So what happened was that during that time, this dam level decreased very significantly. During this time, it was a very slow curve and slope, but during 2018 to 19, already a lot of people increased, a lot of industries, so water use is increased significantly. And then we had a severe drought, and then within 1 year, from 2018, from 100% to 50%. And then 2019, we decreased up to 40% and 30% very, very rapidly. So we decide, okay, let's have another desalination plant operation. So we decide, okay, let's operate the desalination during this time, 2019. So we tried to make the operation. And then what happened was that, you remember, we had a lot of flooding last year, and 2020, 2021. At the time, when we got COVID-19, so 2020, we had a lot of rainfall. So we tried to stand by to operate desalination in 2018-19, and then it was almost ready to go, but we start to have another severe raining season from 2020, together with the COVID-19, and we completely stopped again. So at the time, we operate just the minimum just the maintenance operation. So it was not really well operatable. And then finally, now is the government and this Canadian superannuation investor, they have a contract again, July 2023. From this year, July, so desalination plant will be operational because for last 14 years, we have increased a lot of population industry. The water usage is very much demanding. So that now we finally decide, now it's without any standby or shutdown. So from July 2023, the Sydney desalination plant will continue to operate. That's how it happened to our desalination plant in Sydney. So that's the history. So how we can design, what's the current process of the Sydney desalination plant, and how we can effectively utilize this kind of the design. So that's what we like to discuss together. So
I have a question.
Yes, what's
Yes,
the
with the
question?
previous one, it should be like 70% of the dam level to start with the desalination process. Is like a signal from the dam level to the desalination plant, and then start operation again. And when the level goes up 70, the plant will shut down again.
That's correct. That's correct. But now, from July 2023, this equation is no longer adaptable, because it was happened to from 2012 to 2018. But the last since 2018, so we have had also drought. Also, another issue is the water quality. You know that we had a very severe bushfire, and this bushfire created a lot of water quality issue, because ashes goes to the waterways, and then our drinking water treatment process, which is coagulation followed by sand filtration and chlorination, do not cover our water quality. That's the reason why the Sydney water, okay, desalinated water is very clean. So we need to mix with our drinking water from Warragamba Dam. And then this will increase the overall water quality of the Sydney drinking water. So that's the reason why from July 2023, okay, we will utilize our desalination plant almost fully to mix with our the drinking water from Moragamba Dam, and then we will not stop anymore. That's the what happened. So what it used to be 70% dam level, 50% dam level. We operate the 30% of desalination, 50% desalination plant, but this equation is no longer existing. We will have this new law, July 2023, we will fully operate our desalination plant.
Thank you. My other question is, what happened with the equipment? Because it's like almost 10 years. It should be stopped. It been stopped for 10 years. So what about the maintenance to keep like working with the same efficiency?
That's a very good question, Sarah. That's the one of the reasons they want to operate fully, because they stopped from 2012 to 2018. So based on this experience, they dried out the pumps, membrane, even the pipeline, and then they require around 6 months if they reoperate the desalination plant, at least the 6 months. At least the 6 months, which means what it takes 1 year to reoperate all the system again, because they have to change the pumping, they have to change membrane, they have to clean up all the pipeline. So the cost a lot. The cost is a lot. That's the reason why, okay, it's better to keep utilizing and mix with the fresh water, and then with more less. This is the better strategy to operate desalination plant rather than company stuff. Looks like the plant is almost dead. That's the reason why you're asking is one of the reasons they will start operate fully from July 2023, because of this shutdown experience doesn't really save a lot of money for citizen desalination plant. Also, we have a very good region water quality. Also, now we have increased the population, so they utilize a lot of water demand, and also we need the industry to spend more water. So we are already this level of the water demand line to cover by the Sydney desalination plant. So they decide this July 2023. So you will have a good experience from July 2023. Your water will be mixed with your fresh water. So you may have a different taste if you drink the tap water directly in the city, mainly city area. I will show you at this slide. We have a video which area you will cover desalinated water.
Thank you, Professor. My last question is, the water quality is not enough to be like pumping directly to the potable system, or need to be mixed with the fresh water? It's like a social aspect to mix it, or is because it's not the same water quality?
The water quality, I think the Sydney water, they said because of, that we had a very severe flooding. You remember? So if a flooding happening, so guess what? What will happen if you see a lot of flooding? So you have a lot of organic from mountain, also a lot of sand or clay is washed out to the dam, and then you have a bushfire, and then a lot of ashes still remain, and then a lot of dirty thing is coming through your dam, and then this quality come to the water drinking water treatment process, and then our drinking water treatment process had not designed for this kind of very extreme water quality condition. That's the reason why you cannot remove a lot from this kind of sources. That's the reason why water quality is jeopardizing a lot. And then this is the one of the reason you need to mix with the seawater desalination water, because desalinated water is very clean. You remove every salt from seawater, and then there are clean water mixed with your water combat dam fresh water, which will feel like you have a better quality. That's the one of the reason your water quality from the at this moment, because of the in general day, like today, we have a very nice weather. There is nothing much washed out from your drinking water system. But like last week, we had a very severe rainwater, and then it washed out all the dirty thing, and then water quality suddenly extreme condition, so that your quality is relatively low. So also our water quality depending on your weather condition. So make a consistent seawater desalination would help to maintain this kind of extreme water quality condition, which the seawater desalinated water will have. That's the one of the reason they like to justify to fully operate from July 2023.
Okay, thank
Okay?
you.
Right, yeah, that's a very good question. Absolutely. It's very diversified what's going on. Our drinking water is not that much simple what we have uh, drunken every day. So we have 6 desalination plants. So let's talking about what happened. Already we discussed about city desalination plant. So let's start from number 1. Gold Coast desalination plant. The Gold Coast desalination plant also partially operable because they have a lot of rainfall and river water and enough fresh water. So they have not operated the Gold Coast desalination plant. It's very much similar to Millennium Drought from 2018, and then since 2012, they also completely stopped the Gold Coast desalination plant. And then Victoria, how about Victoria? So Melbourne is the one of the very interesting water supply system. So Melbourne Water, they have a very big mountain and dam to store their water. So Melbourne Water, they don't have any drinking water treatment process. They just chlorinate and then supply to tap water. So one of the very unique water treatment process in the world, because they just drinking as it is with a little bit of chlorination, because their drinking water source area is very isolated and very well protected. And then they have a 4 different reservoir system to cover enough water. But they also decide to create their own desalination plant. And then they haven't also, they have a desalination plant, but they have not operate the desalination plant. So that's the different way of the desalination plant they also utilizing. Adelaide desalination plant, they are operating partially, and they have had a severe drop compared to the East Coast area in Australia, and they have a different desalination process, and they have operated for a long time since they built this desalination plant. And what happened to 5-6? First desalination plant, Southern Seawater Desalination Plant. So first seawater desalination was built in 1998, because this area, as you know, is a very drought every year, so that they had the first desalination plant in Australia in 1998. And then now is they have a second desalination plant, southern seawater desalination plant, almost 400-kilometer distance, because western area has a lot of drought issue, and then population grow, so that they are also keep increasing another desalination plant next couple of years. Then we will have a more desalination plant in this west coastal line. Also, the Newcastle and Wollongong. So we have a second size level of the city, and they are also planning to make a desalination plant. For example, like a Newcastle desalination, now they are already under contract to make sure that the water resource, because Newcastle population also increased, then they have limited reservoir. And then they also want to combine with the seawater desalination plant for the make sure that their water resource. So every second size level of the city, so they are planning or already they are on the construction of a seawater desalination plant. So most of them, all of them, because a desalination plant require a lot of energy. So they like to have a renewable energy certificate, so which means they are all operation with under renewable energy, which is a wind farm. So Sydney desalination wind farm is located in the middle of between Sydney and Canberra. So there are, I'm sure that on the way to Canberra, you would experience several very big size of the wind farm. So that's the related to the Sydney desalination plant power supply. Now is if they don't operate, they try to send it to electrical grid. So they are operating all the renewable energy with wind farm for the desalination plant because of the energy issues. So that's the how we are operating this big level of seawater desalination plant. But if you look at the middle of inland, because most of them, they also rely on some of the groundwater, which is saline. So they utilize desalination plant. Also industry, they have a lot of recycling water. So in Australia, we have a more than 1,000 desalination plant as a small size for reverse osmosis to recycle water. And then currently we have a very big size of the seawater desalination plant. So that's we are one of the highest demanding of the desalination water. So let's look at the Gold Coast. Near Brisbane, so they have 133 million liters per day, and reverse osmosis to produce the drinking water in Gold Coast, Logan, and Brisbane. The three areas they benefit from this Gold Coast desalination plant. So they have a drip screen and dual media filtration, 5 micro cartridge filtration, second pass seawater reverse osmosis system, and CO2 remineralization. So this is the process they are utilizing for this Gold Coast desalination plant. So this was built by Veolia Water Solution. So when you have your assignment rate, so you need to look at carefully what the process do you want to use for your desalination plant, and then you can design based on your process selection. There's a Victoria desalination plant, 440 billion liter per day. So this plant can deliver up to 150 billion liter of high quality drinking water a year, 1/3 of the Melbourne's needs. So they have a process 4-meter diameter under inlet and drum screens, dual media filters, cartridge filtration, encompass seawater RO, lime, and CO2 demineralization. Here is lime is not your fruits. Lime is the calcium hydroxide. The lime is CaCOH2. So don't confuse your fruits with the lime. So that's how they operate the desalinate the water. So compared to previous one, so they have a little bit of a different process, so that you need to compare which process is the most suitable. Adelaide, 300 megaliter per day, and plant can deliver up to 100 gigaliters of high quality drinking water a year, half of the Adelaide water needs. The plant water production capacity extremely flexible. The output of the plant can be as low as 10% or as high as 100%. So this plant very much different from previous two plants because they have a flexibility to increase the 100% fully and up to 10% operation because they use the ultrafiltration, second pass, and then seawater system. So compared to previous plant, like a dual media pressure filtration, so this Adelaide has no dual media filtration, but it has ultrafiltration process. So that's the difference from the Gold Coast and the Melbourne desalination plant. And then rest of them are very similar, SWRO, lime, CO2, demineralization. The Porch desalination plant is 140 megaliter per day, and this one has 18% of post supply water, and this is also dual media filtration. Also, they have SWRO and then CO2 remineralization. And Southern seawater desalination plant, 300, and they differ also ultrafiltration. So compared to sand filtration or ultrafiltration, so that's the different pretreatment you can utilize, and then SWRO, this will be used for southern desalination plant. How about Sydney desalination plant? So Sydney desalination plant, 250 million liter per day. Site cover, this is near your Cornell area, near the airport. So there is the small area Cornell, and then the 25 kilometer from Sydney Central City. And then this one has open intake and diffuser output, drum screen, dual media filtration, and cartridge filter, second pass SWRO system, lime, and fluoride. So the fluoride is the cavity prevention. So you can have more, fluoride concentration to reduce your cavity in your teeth, and you can benefit from this fluoride and CO2 remineralization. The specifically designed outlet nozzle ensure that the water returns to normal seawater salinity, temperature within 50 to 75 meters of outlet, approximately 58% of intake water is returned to ocean. So their brine go back to sea again. So that's the Sydney desalination plant. So let's see one video. So this is the location of the Sydney desalination plant. So we have airport here. We are almost Ultimo is near around, yeah. And then this water, desalinated water, goes to the Sydney Park, which locate our Sydney water distribution system. So it's a combined water combined dam water is coming to this Sydney Park. And then this desalinated water come here to mix together. And then they will supply your drinking water in this area. So that's how the Sydney water is maintaining. So I will show you how the Sydney desalination plant works. And can you see the video?
No, Professor.
No. Okay. Let me show you. I will share again. Okay, so this, can you see this video?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the Sydney desalination plant. You can see the 50% of the Sydney desalination drinking water mixed with the fresh water together. The most of power is from the wind farm near the Virgin Day. So you on the way to the Canberra, I think that you may also see this kind of wind farm. And then this is the process they will show from the how it works for Sydney desalination plant. This is the water. So this is the intake. So you can see that almost 1 kilometer from the coastal line, and then it's connected with your intake, and then what seawater is coming through your desalination plant looks like this kind of very blue color, and you have a drum screening. So this is the drum screening to remove some of the large particle or fish sometimes. and then goes to the next pretreatment, center filtration. So natural gravity will pass through the your water to center filter to remove all the heavy objects, and goes to the reverse osmosis. So this is the reverse osmosis module. So you can create your salt and fresh water separation, and then you will create the good quality of the desalinated water. And then this reverse osmosis will create the fresh water or concentrate water, go back to seawater. So mineral, fluoride, chlorination, CO2 demineralization to meet the Australian drinking water guidelines. This is the concentrate. So water is released back to the ocean. So you can see the diffuser. They have diffuser to increase the almost double concentration of salt. So fish doesn't really get impacted from this. So this desalination plant will supply your water passing through your Botany Bay and then pass through your airport. So when you go to airport, so near the Cooks River, so there is a very big pipeline, black color. So you can see from your eyes. Then this goes to the Sydney's water supply system. And then this yellow color, I'm not sure where you live, so you got the benefit of the Sydney desalination plant. Mostly in the city in UTS campus as well. So we have a good quality of the desalinated water. So that's how this works, Sydney desalination plant. Do you have any questions? What you watched?
How do you know how much mineral to put back into the effluent?
You want to know mineral support, how you mineral support in the
Yeah.
fresh? Oh, okay.
What kind of minerals would need to be put back into the physical?
All right. That's the. Can you see the slide?
Yep.
Okay, so that's exactly we have to learn today. To watch the mineral, we are putting the chlorination, fluoride, mineralization of your water. So I can briefly mention about it now, and then after break we can discuss more detail. The mineral, you know that the water is too clean because reverse osmosis will remove all the useful mineral. The mineral means magnesium, calcium, and then some carbonate. So this will give you buffer solution in your water. So calcium, magnesium, and your carbonate will be required. Otherwise, your pure water is very corrosive, so that your pipeline will be easily already very chlorinated, so that you need to have a very good water buffer solution, and which is the mineral. So we need to protect your pumps, we need to protect your pipeline, and then your minerals, carbonate, CO2 will change to carbonate, and then your lime, which means calcium. Calcium will make your buffer solution as a mineral, and then we will put into at the last stage with chlorine and fluoride. So you will supply to water distribution system. So that's how it works. It's okay, Hailey?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we can have just a 15 minutes break, and then we can start again. So now it's okay, 10:47. So we can start from 11 o'clock. So 15-minute break, and then you can come back in 15 minutes, and then have just drinks, and then we will start again at 11 o'clock. Okay. So you can have a break now. So hello, everybody. Can I start?
Yes, Professor.
That's great. Just want to start with our campus. Already, some people may look at this detail, and just want to remind you. Okay, block 3, it's already available. Some of the information, so you can see the desalination plan, how you can make this kind of block 3 is very well adaptable for your assignment 3. So reading materials, the books, can see the efficient desalination by reverse osmosis, guide to auto practice. So you can refer to this one as desalination of seawater. So every document is free, like an ebook from our UTS library. So you can easily download and you can refer to it. Also, some of the selection to water treatment process, water treatment design, water treatment plant design challenges. So you can get the very basic information of seawater desalination plant design. So we have a lecture related video. Even though I'm happy to share my this live video, but you can also look at the very much detail of the video of the seeding desalination plant and then reverse osmosis, also some of the FIMTech and pressure exchange impulse desalination plant. Also, you can have energy recovery. Also, you will watch that today during the class, some of them. Also, energy efficient desalination. So this is the one of the energy efficient desalination. When you design, you can possibly utilize this one. And if you go next one, the wave software. So you can see how this wave can be utilized. So you can have a video from the wave software. The user manual is available. Also, you need to install this program and how you can download. Also, you can see from here, login system. Also, download the program here, and you will get some of the installation procedure. So you need to follow the installation procedure to properly operate this software. So it's follow the procedure like this way, and then you can learn the fully. Otherwise, some of the limited operation you may have for your software. So make sure follow the procedure with carefully. And this is the software lecture video. So you can see how you can install your web software, how you can utilize this software. So from this video, so you can learn a lot for your own way of the video. Also, lecture slide. So we have a separate, little bit detailed lecture slide. Also, I'm happy to upload our today's live lecture slide because this is a little bit different from the previous one. So I have updated some of the more slides, so you can learn from the live the lecture slide, but mostly the basic concept are very much similar. This lecture slide A, B, C, D. So you can download from this slide. And this is a lecture note block 3. Previously, we recorded, and you can also see. how this can be useful for your learning as well. And then tutorial question and answers are available. So basically, like the design, how you describe, how you can have essential parameters from this class. So you are supposed to do this one as a tutorial question, but I like you to go directly and then you can learn from here, and then you can also have answer here. So get very, very simple, like around 10 questions, and then you will also get the better idea how we can make a better design using this simple tutorial questions and the answers. And this is the software. Some people say it's not working well. You can go to the website, which is this one. So you just put the DuPont water solution, Wave the water treatment design software. So how to download the Wave free software. You can also follow their instruction. Download the Wave software. You need to register. So you just register with your name and your email. So you will get the download the software and how to update and how to view. So you will have also very specific detailed explanation of the installation in this website.
Professor,
Yeah.
is the tutorial questions and is it like an example, a sample, or will it be the questions for our report?
Okay, this tutorial question is not exactly same as our assignment report. This is for your self-study. I like you to understand what we have the lectures, and then this is a basic question of related to our lectures. So calculate the osmotic pressure for the sodium chloride, for reverse osmosis, how much you have written, that how this can be used as a some what you have to get from here. What's the permeate flux? You can create based on this condition of your, okay, determine the membrane area. So how you can calculate your membrane area required for reverse osmosis based on your total volume, then your water permeability coefficient, and the pressure applied. So you can see that based on these parameters, you can determine your membrane area, because when you design your reverse osmosis membrane, so what's the area you need and what's the module do you need? Also, when you have a feed water, then the recovery is 12.5%. Calculate your flow rate and then permeate with 2 elements. So this is the basic tutorial question to better understand what we covered during the lectures. So which means this will help you to better understand your assignment, but assignment has a very different question. Completely, I will show you your assignment later on after this finish. So you can see your assignment example here as well. So this is the one of the good example. You can click your abstract of your report. What's the process design, then detailed design, and then your boron removal. What's the impact of the brine disposal? So that's how this can be done. So you can refer to what's the good report of your desalination plant design. So you need to use also some of your First, the live lecture will be uploaded after this class so that you can also come back and then you can also look at again if you don't understand clearly. And okay, that's the what we have an assignment. Let's look at the assignment. So we have assignment 3. The assignment 3 will be uploaded based on the assignment scenario. The assignment scenario will tell you what's the seawater quality, what's your parameter to design. So you need to look at the Sydney desalination plan, water quality, as well as the process total volume from this scenario. So this scenario will tell you what's the best way to get the basic information for your report 3 for discuss about importance related issue of desalination for future security in Australia. And then design details. So what's the process? So you can follow the similar process of the Sydney desalination plant or post desalination plant. So they are different process of the pretreatment. So centrifiltration or ultrafiltration. So based on your process diagram, so you need to make sure the detailed design of the RO process in terms of membrane, number of banks, stages, vessels, elements, recovery. So that's the you can also utilize the wave software. So you will learn wave software to design this kind of, and then you need to see what's the concentration of the bottle. Also review of the disposal on cuttlefish. And that's the proposed option to mitigate adverse impact of brine disposal on cuttlefish, taking into account both economic and environmental consideration. Also shutdown. Okay, this is the impact. This is the from July 2023 this year. Yeah, they will change, but so far between 2012 to 2022, what was the shutdown, and then we start planning. So you can think about it. Also, at the last sentence should be from July 2023, we will have full operation of the city desalination plant. So we will not worry about too much shutdown and restart planning anymore. So you can mention about that. And the conclusion, yeah, you can conclude. Also, reference has to be professionally organized with format, structure, sentence clarity, English language, including grammar. So that's how this works for your assignment. So if you look at the assignment scenario, let me get the assignment scenario. So this is your assignment scenario. Oops. So this is I'm sure that already you have read this material well. And then what you want to do for your assignment 3, proposal for seawater desalination plant. So from here, you need to get the information of the desalination plant. So how this has been evolved, and then how this can be discussed. What's the desalination plant background. So you can put the background in your first report and scope of works. So you can design your desalination plan based on this capacity and based on this kind of information. And so you will have all the detailed desalination option. So you will see how you need to develop your desalination plan, and then you will have a good understanding of your seawater quality. So this is your canal desalination plant related information. So you can see what's the water quality.
Professor, one question.
Yeah.
Are you showing the document? Because we can only see the Canvas screen.
You only canvas. Okay, I have to yeah, the screen, right, this one. Now you can see, right? So this is the scenario of your assignment. Already, I'm sure that you already look at this one carefully. And I want you to see your seawater desalination plan information from this scenario. What's the capacity? What's the water quality you need to take from your design? So this is the basic information you can get to have your own desalination plan. So this is the water quality. So you can use this water quality to operate your waiver program. And this is your operating parameters of canal desalination plant. So this is the process flow diagram, but you don't have to follow this one exactly same. You can change it. You can change your media filter, or you can change something else, or you can use edit. So that's the what we are asking for assessment rate. So do you have any question for your assessment rate? So is everybody clear, right? So to get this kind of assignment, so we have to learn basic design parameters, basic consideration, basic information for your seawater desalination plant. So we can start from this class. Okay, so this is one of the example of Sydney desalination plant. So they are operating this process diagram. So this is how the seawater intake is coming, and how this chlorination and flocculation, pH, dual media filter pretreatment, anti-scalant, dechlorination, reverse osmosis, and post-treatment with lime, and remineralization with CO2, chloride, chlorination, and finally discharge to water supply system. So we need to look at a little bit carefully why we have to use so many different processes. So we need to understand so that you can make a design better. So in your first question is seawater. So seawater is very salty. So why it is very salty? Because of the sodium chloride and a lot of minerals contained in seawater. So when you have a very salty soup in your food, so that's the way of the seawater. Already you have tasted your seawater salt level when you have swimming in seawater at the beach. So why this seawater is very salty? And this one is maybe when the Earth was born, at the time we didn't have initially any water. The water came from the another planet and then come to the Earth, and then they all evaporate because Earth was very hot at the time, several billions years ago. And then the water evaporate to our sky, and they start to have a raining almost several decades. So all the minerals, ore, which has a very good dissolved solubility of the water, dissolved into the ocean. So the sodium chloride are the most high solubility, which means easily dissolved. So in the earth, all the sodium chloride dissolved to the ocean. So they have very high concentration. Sodium chloride followed by sulfate and some calcium, magnesium, lithium, and the strontium carbonate. There are many different ions dissolved when the earth start with the water. So that's the exactly the first our life start begin, and then water already very salty. So several billions ago, salt concentration in the ocean is same as today, because after that we have a very good water balance, raining, drought, raining, drought, so that the seawater concentration is very much similar, 3.5%. So this salt goes to your chlorination because you want to kill the bacteria to protect your membrane pretreatment or pumping. So biofouling, bioaccumulation, biofilm will not be generated from this chlorination. And then you need to remove some large particles. So ferric chloride can be used as a removing your turbidity. And then pH adjustment. Why do you need to adjust the pH? What's the pH of the seawater? So pH of the seawater is almost 8. So we have a neutral pH is drinking water is 7. So people are very much familiar with the neutral pH as a 7. How about the Coca-Cola pH? Coca-Cola is less than 2 pH. How about your the lemonade? Lemonade is also very highly acidic, so it's less than pH 2. So Coca-Cola and then very much carbonated water is Sprite or some of the sparkling water. The pH is less than 2. And then we normally drink the pH 7. And then seawater is a pH 8. Because they have a lot of different minerals, so this creates the different pH. So if you see the balance of the CO2, so now there is the climate change, the CO2 is the one of the main problem. So look at the CO2 in the air. And then this is the bicarbonate. CO2, depending on your pH, CO2 change to the bicarbonate. And then when you have a more increase to your pH, so you have a very high concentration of the carbonate. So major reservoir in the ocean is the dissolved inorganic carbon. So when you have a pH more or less, the CO2 concentration increase. So when you have a more CO2 concentration increase, so you can think about what's the impact, because coral need some of the carbonate, bicarbonate to create their structure. Also, when you have a crops or some of the lobster, they have a very strong their skin. So this skin is from the calcium carbonate, calcium phosphate, magnesium carbonate. So they need this kind of bicarbonate. But when you have a CO2 increase, the earth in the air, the CO2 dissolve more, and then you have a more less and less pH, which means you will have a lot of damage of uh, the ecological system on your great reef barrier, coral, as well as the some of the ecosystem in the sea. That's the reason why also CO2 is very much related to our pH in the ocean. Then this will connect it with the a lot of different dominant some ecosystems. Also, normal present day pH in seawater is more on the basic side, between 7, 8 to 9. And the pH of a high carbonate is dominant. That's the reason why we have this kind of situation to make a healthy seawater concentration. Carbonate ion concentrate increase with increasing pH when the more CO2 dissolved in seawater become more acidic. So that's the creating the problem. So pH 8 is our seawater, but in the seawater condition, pH 8 is very much healthy. But if you come to our drinking water, we need to make sure neutral pH. Also, high pH will create the more precipitation, which creates the crystal and inorganic scaling. So that we need to neutralize your pH adjustment. The pH 8, we decrease the pH 6 because of the less solubility of your inorganic scaling. So pH is important because we will extract the water. Your salt concentration is higher, so you will have a more crystal, which means you will create a lot of inorganic scaling on your membrane surface. So pH adjust from 8 to 6 to make sure everything is under control. Also, pre-treatment, the Sydney desalination plant, we utilize the dual media filter, which we call a conventional pre-treatment process. How about the Adelaide and Perth desalination plant? They utilize advanced pre-treatment process, ultrafiltration. And this is the dual media filtration. I'm sure the ultrafiltration already you have experienced with the membrane bioreactor. So membrane bioreactor, the hollow fiber ultrafiltration can be used. So already you know that the membrane advanced technology can be used similar to our pretreatment of the seawater desalination. However, currently, conventional, like a dual media filter or sand media filter, they are utilizing. But if you look at the capital cost, energy cost, total cost, they're very much similar. 0.51, $0.52 for 1 cubic meter production. So what's the difference? So why people are preferred to conventional or ultrafiltration? So depending on the initial capital, so this conventional is cheaper, but the energy cost of ultrafiltration is a little bit expensive. Also, when you see the overall quality, ultrafiltration has a very less pore size compared to center filter. So you will have a better water quality, and then this will protect your reverse osmosis membrane. So people like to have a more ultrafiltration because the overall costs are very similar. The water quality of your pretreatment is better than this conventional dual media filtration system. So people like to use ultrafiltration as advanced seawater desalination pretreatment. So conventional has been very easy to use as a drinking water system, as a sand filter. So that's the reason why people have used this one. But ultrafiltration is the more preferable in the future to get the consistent quality of your material. Also, next one, after pretreatment, it goes to the anti-scalant. So why we are putting the anti-scalant? Because anti-scalant will prevent your calcium carbonate, calcium phosphate, and magnesium carbonate. So you can see this one, this is membrane at the bottom. So because of the high concentration of the calcium carbonate, so you will generate this kind of crystal on the membrane outer surface. As calcium carbonate, you can see the very much different structure of the inorganic scaling, as well as the magnesium carbonate has a very much different scaling. So if it's happening, you need to change the outer membrane because it's already damaged. So anti-scalant is very much useful to remove this kind of things. So they are surface active material that interface with the precipitation reactions in 3 primary ways: threshold inhibition, crystal modification, and dispersion. So anti-scalant, such as sodium hexamethyl and this structure is NaPO36. So NaPO36, you can see the different compound like this. Then what happens is that your calcium will replace with sodium so that you can capture your calcium compound. Do not let them grow in your crystal, but because sodium is a very high solubility. So you have around 36%, 37% of your sodium chloride will start create this kind of crystal. But calcium is much more low concentration. They will create this crystal on the surface of membrane. That's the reason why we are putting the sodium SHMP, or you can also put the acetic acid or fulvic acid, because so your calcium will combine with the acetic acid or some of the fulvic acid organic compound. So do not let them combine together. So how we can protect to CaCO3 is combined, and you will create this kind of crystal, CaSO4, MgCO2. So in between, we try to interfere their combination using organics, acetic acid, fulvic acid, or this kind of sodium hexametaphosphate will create the more anti-scalant compound. Otherwise, your membrane will be covered by this kind of inorganic scaling. So we put such anti-scalant, but we don't have a chemistry background. We don't know how much concentration will create this kind of crystal, so that you don't need to have your own way of the chemistry background, because wave software will tell you, okay, you have too much calcium carbonate concentration, so that you need to include anti-scalant. So this software will provide you the basic information of your scaling, so that you can just follow the also software instruction. If you don't have enough chemistry background to create whether this concentration will occur when you increase the recovery rate of the reverse osmosis. Also, dechlorination. So why we need a dechlorination? So we have chlorinated here. So we put all the chlorine to prevent the biofilm, biofouling in the dual media filter. And what happened is that dechlorination before enter the reverse osmosis, you need to have a dechlorination, because this will remove the chlorine. The chlorine will damage your RO membrane. RO membrane is polymers, so chlorine oxidized your polymers, so the RO membrane is keep damaged from the chlorine. So dechlorination is very important in your process. The addition of the sodium metabisulfate. The sodium metabisulfate is this compound, NaHSO3. The chlorine combined together, so they create the NaHSO4 and 2HCl. So chlorine oxidation power will significantly reduce. So that we need to put this SBS plus 3:1 ratio of SBS to chlorine, and then you can remove all the oxidation power from chlorine. So that's we need to completely remove the oxidation power of the chlorine, or sometimes you can use the granular activate carbon filter to convert with the chemical substitution process to remove the chlorine to chloride ion. The chlorine is a very active oxidant, but chloride ion is a very stable condition. It doesn't have any oxidation, so that we can utilize as a RO membrane feedwater sources. So after that, we can go RO. So reverse osmosis membrane, we will discuss some more detail later on. The reverse osmosis membrane will separate your salt and pure water, and then pure water goes to the post-treatment lime. So post-treatment demineralization, we need to go through it. So already some student asked, what's the demineralization? So what's the low mineralization impact? High corrosion potential. So if you have a low mineralization in your RO permeate, so you have a very high corrosion potential in your pipeline as well as pumping. And then dietary deficiency posing risks of ischemic heart and then cerebrovascular disease. So if you don't have enough mineral in your water, so you have this kind of health issues. The WHO recommend 10 milligram per liter of the magnesium and 30 milligram per liter of calcium for drinking water. Two solutions are widely used, the mineral and then neutralize. Also, we put these two solutions, CO2, also calcite limestone with the sodium carbonate and the addition of calcium chloride, and then this NaHCO3 can cover your also some of the mineralization. But if you look at the magnesium, so we don't put any magnesium in the mineralization. That's the reason why we mix our desalinated water with of fresh water. The fresh water contains high concentration of magnesium as well, and little bit of calcium. So desalinated water, we try to balance the calcium concentration is only we put into this mineralization and mixed with fresh water. It's good enough the mineral water we can create for your drinking water. So that's the how this mineralization works with fluorine and chlorination. So if you look at the annual operating and maintenance cost, so mostly energy. So desalination energy mainly from RO, more than 50%. So you spend the more than 50% of energy cost, followed by some of your chemical cost, membrane replacement, labor cost, maintenance, monitoring, indirect cost. So that's the how it works for your annual operating and manual cost. So that's the how it operates for process. So let's look at the little bit of detail key terms. So before we discuss about key terms, so do you have any question for the flow diagram of the Sydney desalination plant? Do you have any questions so far?
Just one question. What is the objective of the treatment with lime?
Lime. Okay. What's the lime? What's the lime?
It's a basic solution, right?
The lime is because people confused. Some people, mostly the general people, think the lime is some of the fruits, like a little bit of sour fruits, like lemonade or lime with lime. Yeah, that's the misconception. That's why you're confused. This lime, we just say limestone. We are in the chemical water area, in the water professional engineer. So what the lime is, we are talking about limestone. So which means calcite limestone, CaCO3, or lime itself is the calcium carbonate, calcium hydroxide, CaOH2. So what you are saying here, lime is calcium hydroxide or calcium carbonate. That's what we are talking about. So it's a demineralization of the calcium is the main key point for this lime. It's not like your fruit lime or eatable lime. So this is the more of a mineral calcium limestone is we are talking about it.
Thank you.
Thanks. So
Professor,
you're very hungry, Sarah. That's why you're just thinking about fruits. Okay, Orina, you have any question?
yes, Professor. So the post-treatment with lime and the fluoride and
Yeah.
chlorination addition, these two are for the neutralization, these two steps?
Okay, neutralization, in fact, you may have in here because you just change the pH 8 here, then pH 6, and then pH 6 pass through all the demineralization and then your chlorination, fluorination, and then you have to go to your freshwater mixture. So when you mix your fresh water, so you have a neutralization. So your seawater will be neutralized with your fresh water, and then this will have a pH around 7, and then we can distribute to the water pipeline system. So that's the neutralization will be in this water supply distribution system.
Okay, Professor, thank you.
Any other questions? Otherwise, we continue for our key terms. Already you learned about flux from the last block 2. Permeate also you have experienced permeate. And then concentrate, so concentrate waste from membrane. So we just say brine or reject. So we just say brine is the most convenient word from my side. So we just say brine for your high concentration of after membrane filtration. So recovery is very important. How much you recover? Seawater, we have a 3.5% of salt concentration. So you recover 50% of the seawater, which means your feed water permeate will be the ratio, like a feed water 100 cubic meter per day, then permeate is 50 cubic meter per day, so which means you have almost 50% of the your recovery. So when you recover 50%, your salt concentration, brine is almost double, which means you have a 7% of your brine concentration in your RO brine. The RO brine 7% we can discharge, or we can try to look at whether it creates more inorganic scaling. Also, TMP is a transmembrane pressure. Already you know that the unit, okay, element and module. So when you design your MBL, so you already have experience in module. Just say microfiltration, ultrafiltration module. But element in RO membrane, we just say element. So this one is a little bit different terminology we utilize. Also, we use the unit or train, which means grouping of membrane vessels with common feed pump, piping, and contrast. So what this means is you want to design certain water desalination plant with a capacity of 250 megaliter per day. So this 250 million liter per day, we cannot design your membrane, vessels, pumps, piping, control with one system. We just divide into units. So we can say that 250,000, less than 250 million liter per day, which means, okay, we want to have 5 units. So you divide by 5 units. So which means you design almost 50 million liter per day, 1 unit. Or you can design more. So you can design your system, just say grouping. So you have almost 1 million liter per day of your flux 1 unit, which means you will design 250 unit, which will produce the 250 million liter per day. So when you design, you don't design the one whole capacity. We just divide into which is the very convenient for you. So let's say 5 unit or 10 unit or 250 units. So that based on that kind of design, you will have a better. Also, you will have some risk management or some of the emergency or cleaning related buffer you can create from this unit. So we just say how many units will be created based on your total capacity of your design, the volume. So that's how this works. So how many train, how many unit will be designed based on your seawater desalination plant, also cleaning in backwashing, enhanced backwashing. And this is the water quality parameters. So feed water quality is very important. So turbidity, TOC, SDI, TSS, iron, manganese, silica, chlorine, temperature, oil, pH. Also additional, already we discussed about carbonate, bicarbonate, and carbon dioxide based on the buffer capacity. acidity, hardness, phosphorus, the total dissolved solid, barium sulfate, strontium sulfate, disinfectant, and chlorination. So this water quality parameters are very important to design your seawater desalination. So all the detail, yeah, we will not cover what's this concentration, what's this one. So we will have a web software to get the very much clear inorganic scaling issue. Also some of the pH adjustment, also salt density index, why this one is required. Then we will learn from our software. So we will cover this kind of basic water quality when you use the web software, because this will give you better explanation. Because if you don't have any water quality background, so this chemistry you may not understand. So we can effectively utilize the web software. This is the example. What's the feed water quality in the software? So this is the feed water quality. Specifically, this will give you what's the stream, what's the seawater, what's your water pretreatment quality, turbidity, TDS, TSS, TOC. So if you give this kind of information, what's the temperature, pH, then what's the pH require the different adjustment. Also, you can put all the concentration of ammonia, potassium, sodium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. Then anion, carbonate, bicarbonate, nitrate, chloride, and fluoride, and sulfate. You put this information as well as the neutrals, silica oxide, boron, CO2. So if you put this information in your software, this will create the, okay, you need to adjust the pH. Okay, you need to create the more inorganic scaling issues. So you need to put the anti-scalant. So you will see all the detailed chemistry will be calculated from this software. So I will explain from this side water quality and this feed water information when you are covering this web software design. So next item is seawater reverse osmosis history. So already have a desalination long back ago, AD or BC, so several thousand years ago. A lot of people utilize the distillation. So you have your boiled water that you create your distilled water, and then you condensate. Then you create the very high purity of the water. But desalination plant has a big scale for the reverse osmosis. Distillation, even though it was a very, very long history, but the reverse osmosis, it was only from 1956 in Kuwait, and then commercial 1970. At that time, people believed the energy was 10 kilowatt hour per cubic meter, which means very much expensive compared to the distillation. And then one guy developed energy reduction cost, which means they have around the first technology innovation, RO membrane. The RO membrane was developed almost 1980 till 2000. So reverse osmosis membrane further developed from this period. And then we had another innovation, a second technology innovation with the energy recovery device. So this is the very much good breakthrough for 2 times. Then we have made a very low cost of the SWRO desalination so far. So a lot of people are utilizing more reverse osmosis. So reverse osmosis range is around this kind of size, like a very small 0.0001 to 0.001 size of the almost you can remove sodium chloride and every salt in your RO system. So this is the non-porous membrane. The membrane thickness increased, permeable flux decreased. The active layer as thin as possible. So active layer will separate mainly your salt and water. The water molecule has a very small size, let's say 0.3, 0.4 nanometer. And then salt size, let's say sodium and chloride, the size is around 0.8 nanometers. So you need to have your RO membrane almost your pore size 0.6 nanometers, so that you can separate sodium chloride and your water, pure water molecule. So that's the reason why active layer is very important to make as thin as possible. Also, you have a symmetric membrane structure, simple composite. So how the reverse osmosis looks like? You have this is one element. One element to contain like a spiral wound type of the structure. The membrane looks like this way, and the active layer. It's a polyamide active layer using an interfacial polarization method. And this is the polysulfone backing layer. So it looks like the nanofiltration, ultrafiltration membrane. You can see for your support layer. Then this is backing layer, which is non-woven polymers. So you can have a more pressure tolerant your non-woven material, support material, active material, which is the polyamide. The skin layer is only 20 nanometer, and this is around 200 micrometer. So you can have also almost 1,000 micrometer of your backing layer. So that's how this works. So let's look at the video of membrane, how this membrane is generated, the RO, and how this will separate your water molecule and the salt. So this will let me show you a video. Okay, so I will show you this video how they create the reverse osmosis membrane. So this is the polyester, like a non-woven backing layer, polysulfone. It's like a support layer, and this is your active layer. So this is a polyamide structure. So you just put the polymer. This polymer will be interfacially polymerized this way. So this ammonia amine single monomer will create this kind of pore size. So water molecule, it goes to the in this pore size. However, if you have this kind of salt molecule, it cannot pass through the your pore size of the your polyamide membrane. So you can just fold this active layer, and the water is passing through in between your membrane. So you put your glue, and then you put the membrane with your papers, and you can have a membrane surface area, and the other side you pass through the pure water, and you will have a very pure water will be collected in the middle of your pipeline. So it's just like a roll. We just say spiral round arrow element. The water is flowing inside the membrane, and then it will be collected in the middle of the pipeline water molecule, and you can separate with your water molecule and salt. So that's how you create the reverse osmosis membrane. Then this reverse osmosis membrane put into the pressure vessel. So you need a pressure around 60 bar and 70 bar. So you can put your pressure vessel inside your pressure vessel, and then water is passing through. The pure water is continuously collected and then brine. Your high concentration goes to, and then improve your quality of your water, and then you can separate your fresh desalinated water and RO brine. So you can have two different. So 90% of the water can be recovered as a pure product water. So that's how the reverse osmosis membrane is created. So it's like a polymer and like a paper, but you can separate your material, the water molecule and the salt. Okay, so everybody understand what's the TF's membrane? Now we are going to transport phenomena. The mass transfer across the outer membrane is diffusion and based on osmosis. So concentration polarization is also very important, and permeate flux limited by osmotic pressure and concentration polarization apart from intrinsic membrane resistance and fouling and scaling. So if you see this osmotic pressure, so what happens is that we have a reverse osmosis, forward osmosis. The reverse osmosis means you have a high concentration of salt, brine, let's say brine, and fresh water. So you have a different salt concentration will create your different osmotic pressure. So you have membrane here in between. So pure water molecule pass through the higher concentration of the brine, which means you can say that this is the reverse osmosis. And then water is passing through your high concentration. This is osmotic pressure. So this is the osmotic pressure between your fresh water and then brine. And then what's the difference of your pressure gap? For example, like when you have a cherry, during the cherry growth and you have a lot of sugar inside, so this sugar will create osmotic pressure. And that's why you have a cherry skin. Cherry skin is like a membrane. So you have a fresh water or rainwater is coming. The rainwater is attached on your membrane is a cherry. Inside you have a very high sugar, which means osmotic pressure is high. The water molecule will pass through your skin of the cherry. So which means it keeps swollen, and then finally this will be burst. That's the reason why you will get damaged unless otherwise you have some harvesting for this cherry before you have a very much raining with the high concentration of the sugar. So that's the osmotic pressure because pure water, rainwater, high concentration of your sugar. Then this cherry skin is the membrane, and then goes to your inside. Also, you can think about yourself. You have two kidneys. Then this kidney, what happens is that you separate the water to urinate. Then your blood will keep passing through your kidney. And then your kidney has a high concentration of the salt. So your urine concentration is high salt than your bloodstream salt. So osmotic pressure is occurring. So your kidney keep removing your very much bad compounds. Also, water can be urinated from your kidney to urine, so that it's like membrane will create your osmotic pressure. So sodium, you have a concentration 1,000 milligram per liter. Osmotic pressure is 100 kilopascal, 1 bar. Magnesium sulfate, 1,000 milligram per liter, 25. So we can calculate the osmotic pressure. Seawater, 35,000 milligram per liter. And then you have a 27 bar or 2,700 kilopascal. So the seawater, we apply the 60 bar, 70 bar to overcome this osmotic pressure. So you will get the good reverse osmosis. So you overcome the osmosis reversely, and then you create your salt to water brine to fresh water. So that's we call reverse osmosis. So this is developed by Van Hoff. So he got a Nobel Prize first in chemistry. So he developed this equation. Pi, osmotic pressure is equal to concentration R is ideal constant, and T is the temperature. So concentration is your ionic concentration. So which means sodium chloride, you have two ions, sodium chloride, and then what's the concentration? So when you have a magnesium, you have two ions. So depending on how many ions, how many charge you have, and this will create your osmotic pressure differently. So this simple equation can be used as your osmotic pressure calculation. Then seawater desalination. This is the feed water and reverse osmosis. We just the osmotic pressure, the almost 30 bar of seawater, and the energy consumption is around 3.5 kilowatt hour per cubic meter. Recovery, you have a 50%, 0.5 QF. So which means 50% of the recovery permeate flow and feed flow. So we can have this kind of concentration polarization. So you have a bulk seawater here. You have an outer membrane. So you can get your water molecule pass through your membrane, and then you can see that your salt will be accumulate more and more on the top of your membrane surface. So this kind of concentration, real concentration of on the surface, then your pure water is different. So which means the diffusion from the membrane surface back to the bulk solution is different, so that we just say concentration polarization. The back diffusion can be enhanced by a cross flow. So when you have a very high cross flow, so you can remove your accumulation of salt, so that the high cross flow will create the high shear rate, which means you will have a less concentration polarization because of the back diffusion phenomena. So that's how we also calculate for your concentration polarization. But this kind of calculation is very time consuming, and then you need to use your hands, so that we don't use this kind of calculation using manually, but we can utilize our software, wave software, to calculate this kind of concentration polarization type. Also, nanofiltration, reverse osmosis. So we have a standard membrane element type. So BW4040, which means brackish water, 4-inch, 40-inch. 40-inch is 1 meter, which means length of your element. 4-inch is your diameter, which means 10 centimeter, 10 centimeter of your diameter. So you can have 5 centimeter, and it's how much module element you can use. The bigger one is you can produce more water. Small one like a 4-inch, 40-inch, 80-40, which means 8-inch, 40-inch, and this is a 2.5 inch and then 40-inch. So based on your water permeability, and you can decide what's the good element design. Also compatibility. The pressure buzzer, you can put your module, and then what's the size is okay, and we can create a better pressure vessel size and element. It's a simple design, R&D benefit or end users, manufacturers, bad the lack of the diversity of this R element. So let's look at the video of the NF R element, how they create this kind of element. I'll show you the one more video. Where is my Zoom? What screen can you see now?
No, Professor.
Nothing you can see?
We can see the presentation.
Oh, you can see the
fine.
presentation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you can see the PPT slide. Okay. Where is my? My main sharing it disappear. I just want to share again, but I cannot see function of interesting. Let me open the Zoom again. The Zoom is disappeared. Yes, I got it. Okay, so I will share this video how they creating this. Can you see the video now? Yep. So this is from Dow Chemical. So they create this kind of thin film composite element module. So you will see how they create this element for RO membrane. So this is the RO membrane. Looks like very much interfacial polymerized IP, and they will make a spiral round type using this manufacturing system. So this is how they create the modularization. So this is the RO membrane.
Robotics for leaf construction and assembly ensure that every element is precisely built without membrane damage that often occurs during manual handling. Automation enables construction of more shorter leaves compared to manual rolls,
So that's
resulting in a more
how
efficient
they
product
glue
that is
the
less prone to
each
fouling.
membrane side.
Precise
One
computer-controlled
membrane.
glue
This is the
lines
glue.
ensure the highest active area in the industry
glue at
with
the-
guaranteed accuracy and minimize leaks, which can result in poor permeate quality. Film tech elements
you
are
can
optimized to have the
manually
highest active area
roll
combined with
this,
the thickest feed spacer in the industry,
membrane.
offering several operating benefits, including improved cleanability, lower pressure drop, increased durability, and the ability to handle more challenging feed waters. A unique barcode allows continuous tracking of each element. Online quality checks for scroll integrity and dimensions and an inline vacuum test are performed on every element to ensure mechanical integrity. Any elements failing preset measurements are discarded. End caps are welded to the product water tube in a process that improves element strength, and a quality test ensures weld integrity.
So you can
Our
see that
automated fiberglass
this
process
element
ensures
will
exact and
create
uniform
the
fiberglass
outer
application
membrane,
within
see what
controlled
the
dimensional
desalination.
tolerances.
So it
To
costs
validate
around
final element performance, FilmTech uses
$100
both a
for
traditional
one
20-minute
element.
performance test
But
and a
you can
groundbreaking
utilize
pulse
the
integrity
almost
test, which has the unique ability
5
to
years
detect and
averagely,
diagnose mechanical defects.
and then you are testing your
Tests are computer
permeate
controlled,
flow
and
rate
elements not meeting
as well
defined
as the
test
rejection
ranges are
from
discarded.
this system,
Custom designed
and you
packaging
can make
equipment
a
combined
package
with
for
precision
one by one.
injected preservative
So that's the
ensure protection
how
for elements
we
during storage
create
and transportation
this
and easy
8
handling.
inch. This is the very typical
Prior to
8
shipment,
inch
product for
and
each
40
customer
inch,
order
1
is
meter
scanned for
length,
traceability
10
and to validate
centimeter
all previous
diameter.
quality checks.
So they are selling this one
Quality
for
is
your
built into
seawater
every
desalination
FilmTech
plant.
element, from the
So that's
management of
the
raw
how
materials to final shipment.
seawater desalination
Every element
plant
undergoes multiple
works.
inline quality measures.
Element modularization.
Professor,
Yes.
I can get the difference between this video and the one that we've watched before, actually.
Before watching, you look at the polymerization, how this polymer it arranges the self assembly method, and then you can see how they can create the polymer of the backing layer, and then your non-woven layer and support layer. But this one is more about the real polymer outer membrane for the how element can be generated. So initially was more detailed membrane, outer membrane for the first video. And this one is the how this membrane actually creates the modularization. So module, that's the difference you can see now. Is it okay?
Yes, thank you.
Hmm. So this is the video I showed you, and we can start some more pressure vessel, and you will see how it's better. So this is the one element, one module we create. We purchase from the Dow FinTech or some of the company. There are many companies, around 50 companies manufacturing this element. So we put into the pressure vessel. The pressure vessel is this outside to locate your element, the fiberglass, stainless steel, a spiral round element in a vessel. Vessels can be arranged into banks with desired number of stages. So we create the, water is flowing this way, then pass through your element, and brine is collected here. Then permeate will be connected with the core pipeline, and you can collect the product water. So one pressure vessel, in general, 7 or 6 elements will be located, and then you produce your pressure vessel. So when you design unit, how many pressure vessels you have, how many elements you have, so we can calculate one by one. So this is the pressure vessel housing. So several element flux and then pressure distribution. So when you design 50% of the water recovery, so we design one by one, like we have a first element, third element, fifth element, seventh element. The water is passing through here because this is the low salinity, and the brine is keep increasing the concentration. Then the red color is the higher brine concentration. So you have a flux is higher at the beginning. Pressure distribution here is a higher pressure, but lower and lower pressure loss because of the you have a more pressure loss as water is permeate. So pressure difference and the pressure difference also you can think about when you have a first element, last element, the salinity of the your TDS is low, there it's very high because of its concentrate. Also, when you consider permeate flux, so most of one pressure vessel first element will capturing more than 25% of your permeate water. But if you look at the last one, less than 5% of your water is collecting from the last one. So considering all together, every pressure vessel, every element, you have a different permeate flux and salinity, and then we can calculate all together, mix together, and then we will consider final recovery rate as well as the final permeate concentration. So that's the how to design for your final pressure vessel location. Also, this is the how the pressure stage can be allocated. So this is pressure vessel, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then they combine together. And then goes to the next stage as a two pressure vessel, and then goes to the first stage. We just say this is the pressure profile of the practical system. So you have a less pressure profile, and then osmotic pressure is high because you have a more concentrated your feed water and brine. And then finally, your osmotic pressure is increasing a lot. The applied pressure is to keep a little bit decreasing. Finally, you cannot produce any more water because of your pressure of applied. Osmotic pressure is almost the same. That's why we need to design how you can make a good water flow based on the osmotic pressure and applied pressure. So this is the booster pump can be used because you have a pressure loss, and then you can try to put the booster pump to maintain the same pressure. So if you want to have a more higher water recovery, you can utilize the booster pump to create your applied pressure is keep increasing. And then osmotic pressure is keep increasing, and then your osmotic pressure minus applied pressure will decide your permeate flux. So how we can design this kind of the booster pump usage. And this is the initial like a 3 pressure vessel 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. And then flow rate is very high and they keep decreasing. And the feed flow rate is also keep decreasing. And the flux is keep also decreasing because your flux is initially high, but because of the brine concentration is keep decreasing, and then feed site concentration, your brine concentration is keep increasing, which means you have a more colloidal organic fouling at the initial pressure vessel. At the end, because you have very high concentration of feed salt water, and your flow rate is also relatively low, and your flux is very small, so that you create more silica or inorganic salt, inorganic scaling. will be created at the end of your staging. And this is the excessive differential pressure can create your damage of your membrane element. So we can have some example of the production volume, permeate quality, system flexibility, membrane. So this is the membrane constraint, element recovery, feed flow rate, retentate flow rate, permeate flow rate, different pressure, feed water quality also, free chlorine, and turbidity or SDI hardness, so that the water pressure will continuously increase. So that's the how you need to consider for your design of the reverse osmosis. So let's look at some more detailed terminology. The feed water permeate, and this is the retentate reject the concentrate. So brine will be here. Based on that, we just say brine that you can connect. Sometimes you need to recirculation. Some of the recirculation can be designed together. Also, this is the average permeate flux. You can mention about this one, how much water, LMH, the liter per square meter hour. So how much water is produced from 1 square meter of your membrane surface, and then for 1 hour. So this is the LMH unit you can use. The salt passage is the CP concentration of permeate, and then feed water, and you have how much salt passage, also salt rejection, CR, concentration, retentate or brine, and then feed water concentration. We just say 100 minus SP is salt rejection. Also recovery rate. So you have a QP, and this is a QF is multiplied by 100. So we have this recovery rate ratio. And this is the general element pressure vessel. This is we just say unit, like a grouping with the pressure vessel, different stages, permeate flow, and we also have a pumping here, and then all the connected is one unit of your membrane element. Also, flow dynamics in RO element. So you can see the flow dynamics for a single element. The feed water, let's say, 8 cubic meter per hour goes to your RO1 element. So you can have a recovery rate 12.5%. And then retentate 7, permeate 1. Then if you connect one more, first one was 12.5% of your overall recovery. Second one, you can calculate R2 recovery ratio 0.125, your recovered rate 1 minus 0.125. So you will recover second one this way. So third one will be R3 will be 0.125 times 1 minus 0.125 times 1 minus 0.125, which means you will have almost 8% of recovery rate when you connect the third element. So you need to calculate this way. So mostly you want to design 50% of the seawater desalination plant. So you want to achieve 50%. So R1, 12.5% plus 10.9%, R3 and R4, R5. So all together, you combine, you will get the 50% of your overall flux recovery. So that's how you need to design, because you cannot design one element with the 50%. So you design the one each element has around 12.5%. Then you have a high concentration of the salt. And then you will have a next one 10.9% recovery. And then next one 8%, next one 6%. Sorry. So that's the how you have to design overall 50% of your water recovery. So you can be familiar with how you calculate your overall water recovery, and then based on that you can design how many elements you need, how many module you need, how many pressure vessels you need. That's the you can calculate based on your manual calculation.
I have
So
a
that's
question.
yeah,
Yes, always the first element will have the higher percentage of recovery.
absolutely, because you have a first element, you withdraw pure water so that your brine has a high concentration of osmotic pressure, right? So osmotic pressure high, and then you have a pressure drop applied, so that the next element, yeah, you have a higher osmotic pressure, then you have a less applied pressure, so which means you have a less recovery for your second element. And then third element, you have also higher, because already pure water is permeate your first element, second element, right? So third element, you have a higher concentration of your feed. So your R3 is lower than R1, R2. So R4 is same, lower than your, because they are located in one pressure vessel. So we have a one pressure vessel will contain the 7 elements. So we are talking about one element. This is one element. One element, second element, third element, fourth element, sixth, 7 elements. So you can calculate. Yep. How much water recovery you can get because of the osmotic pressure and pressure drop. So it slowly decrease. That's how you can calculate for your flow dynamics for your seawater desalination.
Thank you.
And we have several tricks. Our system, we just say unit or train, single stage and pass. Single stage or single pass. So when you achieve the higher recovery, like a 50%, 60%, so we have some special technique to utilize. So we just say stage, second stage, second pass. So single stage, single pass, second stage, and second pass. So what's the meaning of this one? And why we need this one? Because you have to design better. This is single stage. So your feed would come to our pressure vessel, and then goes to directly retentate, which means this is the first stage. And then your permeate is coming to here. So this is the first pass. So you have a one stage parallelly, and then you have a collect your brine, your permeate, and then this permeate is first single pass, single stage. So let's see the second stage and second pass. So we have a two-stage arrow, and this one is retentate. The first vessel goes to the second vessel. So which means first vessel brine goes to the second vessel, which means stage 1, stage 2. So we just say second stage. So higher recovery rate achieved. When you have a first, second stage, you will have a higher recovery rate. So you want to achieve 50%, 60%, or even more, so that you may need the first stage, second stage, maybe third stage as well. The second vessels receives the feed with higher TDS or osmotic pressure. So this is the, how this can make first stage, second stage, so that we can have a better way of the recovery rate. How about the example of the 3 stages? So we have also 3 stages. First stage, water pass through, and then second stage pass through the 2 pressure vessels, and then they combining again, and then last, and you can collect your concentrate. So we just say third stage, and this is second stage, and this is first stage. So when you consider your feed water 1.1 gram per liter, your flow rate 840, the first stage you can collect your permeate 12 milligram per liter, 460 cubic meter per hour. And second stage, you will collect 60 milligram per liter, 196 cubic meter per hour. Third stage, you will collect your feed water permeate is 240 milligram per liter, 51 cubic meter per day. Finally, your brine concentration from 1.1 gram per liter to 7.5 gram per liter. So almost 7 times increased. And then this is the 125 cubic meter per day. So which mean your flux 180 cubic meter per hours all permeate, and then you have only 125. So this is the 742 array. We just say 85% recovery. So what's the recover from feed water to here? And this is the 20 LMH, the flow flux we have created. So based on the feed water, brine, permeate, so we can decide what's the array you need to have, and then what's the permeate recovery we can get, and then finally we will get the good design of your stage and the RO membrane. Also, we have some 2 parts. We already discussed of 2 stages, third stage, but this time is a 2 parts. So in your assignment, so you have some of the boron issue. The boron concentration is a little bit high. So we want to remove the more boron, so that we need to go through second pass. So water first, they have a permeate in the first stage, and then this concentration of the boron is high, and then we go for another rejection for permeate, and this boron concentration will be lower than what you permeate. So that's the reason why the second pass will give you much more clean water quality if you have a very concerning the ion compounds such as boron. So your assignment, we asking your concentration of boron is how we can remove the better using this second pass. So that's the how we can design some of your RO membrane and then pretreatment, and also you have some of the energy consumption. The water intake 5%, 0.2 kilowatt hour per cubic meters. And then pretreatment, you have 0.4 kilowatt hour per cubic meter, 10%. And this one goes to RO. The RO, they produce almost 72% of energy consumption, 2.8 kilowatt hour per cubic meters. Then product to water recovery and discharge point, you just discharge and 5% of your other infrastructure. So when you have a total energy use for seawater desalination 1 cubic meters for Sydney desalination plant or Sydney water quality 35,000 milligram per liter or 35 gram per liter at temperature 23 degree. So we need around 4 kilowatt hour per cubic meters. So how much you pay for 1 kilowatt hour for your electricity in your household? Anybody answer? Can you answer it? How much you pay for 1 kilowatt hour for your house? Nobody pay, right? Nobody pay any electricity bill in this group?
Oh, no idea.
No idea. So guess what? What's the 1 kilowatt hour? How much you pay for your electricity usage?
I think, Professor, is like 10 cents, if
10
I'm not
cents.
bad. Yeah.
Okay, 10 cents is a little bit less. In general, we pay 30 cents.
Yeah. Sorry, it was 27 cents. I was just checking my billing account. Yeah, 27 cents.
Right, that's true. Okay, let's say you're paying the 1 kilowatt hour 30 cents, and then you need the 1 cubic meter production of seawater desalination and 4 kilowatt hours. So 4 kilowatt hour times 30 cents. So how much is it? $1.2, right?
Yes.
So you have to pay $1.2 to produce the seawater desalination 1 cubic meter of your seawater desalination production.
That's
So
very expensive.
very high. Is it very high, right? So
Yeah.
my second question goes to how much you pay 1 cubic meter of your tap water in your house? I'm talking about. So you have your water bill as well with you?
No, sorry. My water is included in the rent, so I don't know, but maybe let me check how. I think we use like 300 liters per day per person, so it's gonna be 600 liters. So divided 24, it's almost 30 liters per hour. Let me check. Give me a second.
So my question is 1 cubic meter, how much you pay for?
$2.50 per kiloliter.
Kiloliter, yes, 1 kiloliter. How much?
$2.50.
Right. Exactly, it's around $2.25. So you pay 1 cubic meter of your drinking water and tap water in your house, you pay around $2.25. So the seawater desalination is very expensive because you produce the 1 cubic meter. You need to energy. I'm talking about only energy because you need the chemical here. You need the maintenance. You need the replacement pumping. You need a lot of operation labor cost. But this is only energy cost. $1.2 for 1 cubic meter. And then you pay for your tap water is around $2.25 per cubic meters. So which means it's very expensive. So how we can reduce this kind of energy? You produce almost 250 million liters per day from Sydney desalination plant. So which means you pay around $200,000 for energy cost only. That's why the people, wow, it's bloody expensive to produce the seawater desalination, because you have to pay only electricity bill every day more than $200,000. That's the reason why people look at how we can save the energy cost and the renewable energy connected, and how we can make sure this kind of energy cost, so that that's the also we have to be clear. So SWRO, you need to calculate energy. Theoretically, you can calculate based on the equation. W is pump energy, and your flow rate of your production, and then you apply the pressure 70 bar, the pump efficiency around 0.8. So you have a flow rate, how much you want to produce. So let's say 3 cubic meter per second. Then you have a pressure applied for your outer membrane, 7,000 kilopascal, and then 0.2 pump efficiency. So what you are spending for your energy to make a seawater desalination with the 70 bar pressure, you need a theoretical, your energy consumption is 7.29 kilowatt hour per cubic meters. So this is much more expensive than seawater desalination, because we have an energy recovery device. Even though theoretical value is 7.29, but we have around energy recovery device is turbine 30 to 40% energy saving, with a pressure exchanger 50 to 60% energy saving. That's why reason it comes down 3.5 kilowatt hour per cubic meter, which means very similar to Sydney desalination plant uses. So let's say, okay, you have this 1 kilowatt is around $0.29 in Australia, so 4 kilowatt. So you need to pay every day for Sydney desalination plant almost $290,000. So 1 kilowatt, you can consider your light bulb, 100 watt, you operate 10 hours, then you can spend around 1 kilowatt hours. Or maybe you have 10 light bulb, 1 hour, just you utilize the 1 kilowatt hour. So how about your refrigerator? So you operate refrigerator 24 hours, 7 days. So how about every day? How much energy you will produce your consume your energy in your refrigerator? So you will have almost similar to desalination, like a 4 kilowatt hour. So in average, one household, we assume that the 20 kilowatt hour per day, the one household consume your energy consumption. So which means your desalination 4 kilowatt hour for producing of your 1 cubic meter of desalinated water. So you have a lot of energy cost. But even this energy cost per kilowatt was decreased significantly because of the pressure exchanger. The pressure exchanger decreased almost 50 to 60%. So we will see how this innovate this pressure exchanger, and then this creates a lot of benefit to make SWRO is much cheaper than distillation, as well as the very much commercially affordable in the future. So I will show you a video of the pressure vessel theory. Let me show you. So this is the concept of the pressure vessel, how this renovate our seawater desalination. So you can see pressure vessel exchanger.
For most of
So
history,
this is RO
desalination consumed too much energy
pressure
and
vessel,
cost too much money to be a
and
practical solution
this
to
is high
global water
pressure
shortages.
pump,
The introduction of energy
and
recovery's
this is
PX
keep
pressure
pushes through
exchanger
your
technology changed all that.
water through the
It
RO
single-handedly
membrane.
cut the cost to
This
operate a
is
seawater
the pressure
reverse
water
osmosis plant
produced,
by 60%.
and this is the
PX
brine.
devices require
You
no
connect
maintenance
the pressure
and, even
exchanger
more importantly, cause
in
no
between.
downtime.
So you have
The PX captures
RO
energy
brine,
that would otherwise be
because the
wasted,
pressure is
reducing
still
a
very high.
desalination
So
plant's
you like to
high-pressure pump flow
exchange your
requirements.
pressure using
Not only does
pressure
it save
exchanger.
electricity, it
So
also
this
cuts
is the
high-pressure pump
pressure
size
exchanger,
requirements,
and then
producing
your
further
feed
savings.
water coming
Now,
to
let's explore the
circulation pump,
engineering behind this
and this
innovation.
is the how
Simply yet
recovery
elegantly designed, the PX
energy
high-pressure housing
is
contains a
developed.
ceramic rotor,
So every
the only moving
desalination
part in the
plant,
entire device.
they rely
Surrounding
on
the
this
rotor are a
pressure
sleeve and two end
exchanger
covers.
to save
These ceramic
almost
components fit snugly around
more
the
than
rotor to form a tight
50% of
fluid
your
seal.
energy cost.
Water in the narrow gap
You
around
can
the
see
rotor
this
acts
is
as a
the ceramic
hydrodynamic bearing, requiring no
rotation
external lubrication.
system.
High-pressure reject
So
concentrate
you have
from a
this
reverse
ceramic
osmosis
rotation.
plant's
So
membranes
high
flows
pressure
into the
rejection
PX.
brine.
Low-pressure
You have
seawater
a pressure
simultaneously
water
enters the
seawater.
PX and fills the rotor,
Then
where it
low
is exposed
pressure and
briefly
high
to the reject
pressure, they
concentrate.
keep
Energy from the hydraulic pressure
within
is then
this
transferred
ceramic
directly from the concentrate to the seawater
rotating
inside the rotor.
system. So
This
you can
pressurized seawater
utilize
now goes back into
as
the system and
pressure
joins the steam
exchanger
from the
using
high-pressure
this
pump.
system.
Any remaining
So that's the
concentrate
reason you
exits the
can
rotor at a low
give a
pressure
very high
and is then pushed
pressure
out
to
by
this
fresh seawater. The rotor ducts function
feed
like a
water,
cartridge,
which
charging
the
and
observing
discharging
by
as the
the
pressure transfer
brine.
process repeats
So
itself.
you have
The
saved
rotor, using
almost
only the
more
fluid
than
flow, can
50%
spin
of
up
the
to an
your energy
astounding
cost
1,200
using
rotations per
this
minute.
system.
Harnessing
That's
energy that
how
would otherwise be wasted.
renovate.
PX
So it looks
devices
like this
guarantee
is
the
the
highest
video,
efficiency
so
and
it's
availability
very slow,
at
but
98%.
the real condition is very fast. So you have a 60 bar pressure connected with your system, so that you will have a very high rotation of your pressure exchanger. So that's the how it works for the pressure exchanger. So do you have any question from this one? Otherwise, now we are 1 o'clock, so we can have a lunch here. So how long do you need time for your lunch?
At least 35 minutes.
35 minutes. How about others? 35 minutes is good enough?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so we will come back. Okay, 1:40. 1:40. Start again. 1:40. Yeah. Lunch. Okay, so I will just continuously open this one for this Zoom meeting, and then you can have a 40-minute lunch time and then come back. Also, if you have some time, you can install your web software, and then afternoon session, we will very much focus on how we can install, how we can utilize this software. So we can save a lot of time to finish your class today.
Professor,
Yeah.
is there a session tomorrow as well?
Sorry, say again?
Is there a tutorial tomorrow at 2 p.m.?
Tomorrow, in fact, we have a assignment to consultation time at 3 p.m. And then we are supposed to have tomorrow 2 to 5 p.m. So I will complete this class today until 5 p.m. And then we don't have to have assignment 3, because you will have good knowledge and start your assignment 3 based on our teaching and lecturing today. So tomorrow, 2 to 5 p.m., we don't have to have a block 3 lecturing, but you need to join the consultation time of the assignment 2. If you haven't done much about assignment 2, if you have any question, you can join. But if you don't, already you complete your assignment 2 and finish everything, you don't have to join tomorrow 3 p.m. consultation time meeting.
Okay, yep, thank you.
Okay, I will see you 1:40 and continue our slide, and we'll make a more entertaining. Yeah.
Sorry, so we finished today at 5?
I think a little bit earlier than 5, depending on how you are better understanding of your web software. Yeah, 5 is the longest time, but we will be a little bit faster in the afternoon.
Depends on how well we can understand it.
Right. So if you understand, because this is all related to assignment 3, to connect with your assignment 3 as well as your design of the seawater desalination. So if you are confident, okay, you don't have to join anymore your assignment 3 if you finish completely. So that's fine. You don't have to join. But of course, this class will have a better understanding for you in the afternoon, and you can easily finish your assignment, because mostly I know that you have a lot of assignment at the end of the semester. So this month will be one of the busiest time because of your engineering project, other assignment, a lot of thing happening, right? So I want you to finish as soon as possible assignment 3, so that it will be good for you to have this afternoon class as clear as possible. But if you are confident assignment 3, of course, you don't have to
I'm not
join this.
confident.
Yes. So that's why, yeah, please, of course, you can learn more. This is much more fun to have a live lectures rather than watching the video. So you can join at 1:40, and we can have a rest of our design of the waste seawater desalination plant. Okay. All right. So see you very soon and enjoy your lunch.
Okay, thank you, Professor. You too.
Bye.